Mr. Frasco, what do you have to say to all those deep state conspiracy theorists out there who say Andy Frasco is that guy from LMFAO?
LMFAO!
Hey, Andy, it's Megan. Sorry we didn't get to say goodbye before our big exit last night, but I wanted to thank you for everything you did to make our wedding as amazing as it was, and I know it meant so much to Tony that you came out for it. Also, I know the wedding got pretty wild, but some of the stories I'm hearing from the uncles, I'm starting to wonder if you actually went through with putting mushroom chocolates on the dessert table. I thought you were joking about it before, but it would explain a lot. Also, what did you say to Grandma Gail? She can't stop talking about you, and she just asked me for your number. Anyway, I've got to get back, but yeah, I guess I'd just like to talk after we get back from the honeymoon.
Andy, this is Megan's grandma. I just wanted to say how happy the night we spent together made me after Megan's wedding. I haven't felt like that in a long time. The chocolates that you gave me made me feel so horny and sexual. I haven't felt that way since my husband died. I miss you already. I can't wait to see you again the next time. Hopefully you can come over and I can make you my world-famous brisket. Okay, baby. I miss you.
All right, and we're live. Andy Frasco's World Saving Podcast. I'm Andy Frasco. How's our heads? How's our minds? Are we staying out of trouble? My mind is great. I'm looking at the ocean right now.
Gorgeous.
We are in the Outer Banks, North Carolina. We've been staying here for three or 4 days now.
Sounds about right, yeah.
And it's been unbelievable. I've learned how to surf. I've gone to stand up. I've been riding Nar, or shredding Nar.
I walked down to the beach the other day. I look up. It was literally the Jewish Kelly Slater. Okay. He was, I mean, as barreled as you can get with that type of hair, okay? The wave was trying. It was amazing. You're amazing.
Thank you,
Proud
bro.
of you.
We got Damn Skippy as my co-host once again, just slinging fucking merch. We are doing record numbers in merch.
What can I say?
My guy.
I'm good at what I do.
You know, when you make us money, I get happy. You know?
I'm here to make Daddy happy.
Daddy is very, very happy right now. Wow, what a tour.
What a tour. What a life.
Every time. It's always the end of the tours where I feel like I'm just going to fucking miss the shit out of you.
I always feel the same way, Andy, and that's why I just book another one with you.
Thank you.
I'm coming back.
When you coming? Hold on, are you coming back?
Anytime. I told him, if I'm not on the road with Stranger, I'm on the road with you.
God damn it. Let's go.
Always.
That's my show, Pony. Oh, man. These Outer Banks people are fucking insane.
They're literally, I thought you drank hard.
Yeah.
These people drink hard.
You said they were getting a little annoying at the merch table. What was going on?
I've never gotten frustrated at the merch table. You know, I'm a man of the people.
You are.
I like to talk to everybody. I like to see what they do. You know, What's your name? What's your job? All that. These people, they are going so hard that one person just crowd surfed onto the merch table.
No,
I'm not even playing. And was holding 2 beers. They were double fisting. I've never seen crowd members just take it upon themselves to crowd surf. Did you see there
yes,
was a chick
I did.
last
yes,
night?
She was like this. Yes.
Normally, Andy's the one that's calling the shots here.
Yeah.
They're just literally, but the thing is, they're all sweet as hell.
Yeah. Did you ever get in a fight? Did you get in a fight with anybody?
No, there was a couple people that needed to be removed from the area. But like, you know, it's all in good fun. Like, I'm not going to get mad at someone for drinking. I tour with Andy Frasco, you know?
Yeah.
But it was wild.
I tour with Andy Frasco, where binge drinking is allowed on tour.
And
speaking of that,
speaking of which,
happy day off.
Happy day off.
Cheers, everyone. We're drinking tequila today because we're on the beach. I mean, tequila feels like a beach drink, right?
It really does, yeah. I think it's like, it kind of helps the sun, like, you don't even get as burnt, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like you become one with the sand.
Well, it's been a great tour. Cheers, brother. Damn,
Cheers.
Skippy, you're the man. Ooh. We got half a week left. We got shows every single day until Peach Fest.
Every day.
We're going for it.
You love to just jam-pack them, don't you? No, it's an interesting philosophy.
Yeah.
Why go on tour for 2 months and have a bunch of days off?
Yeah.
just go on tour for 3 weeks and have 2 days off.
Yeah, I think that's why I had a mental breakdown last week, and Brian Schwartz had to fly to Charlotte to see if I'm okay.
He was there for you.
He was there. It was so funny when that happened. I was like, fuck, because I was being dramatic because I was going through the pneumonia, and I'm like, oh, I fucking hate, oh man, I'm burnt out, blah, blah, blah. And Schwartz never gets really concerned about me.
Right.
Until he does.
And
he got really concerned. I was like talking about burning out and quitting and shit. It was just like, he's like, whoa, I got to get my ass to Charlotte before shit goes down.
Anything you do, Andy, though, you do it to the max. That's the thing.
I do. That's a problem with me. This is why, I don't know, maybe that's why I have addict traits.
Right.
That's why I have to control what I do. Like, I can't really do
But that's
crazy
also why you're
drugs
such a sweet person. You know, you love us all to the max, you know? But also, you know, the doctor says you got walking pneumonia. That thing was sprinting. Okay, that was the freaking I don't know the flojo of
and we still performed.
Pneumonia.
And like I was beat up, I was tired, but you know I wasn't contagious, and we were playing. And I got to shout out to my body one more time. Let's go.
Shout out to your body.
We got it. We got all
never...
the boys here. Andy Avila, you want to come in here? Come on, I know you're.
Get in here.
Give it up. Andy Avila is
Get
here.
in here.
Hey, Avila.
Here,
give him a
right
mic.
us.
How you doing? How do you like?
Woke up.
You just woke up.
Oh, you know, it was long. We got home really late last night.
Yeah, we did. And I saw your ass. It was a man stew last night in the
a little
jacuzzi.
bit in the hot tub just to cool down.
The whole band was in the hot tub. There's 5 dudes in a hot tub.
It was nice.
Did you?
And like it makes you sleep better. I feel like because you know you hit the hot tub and like after playing a big show like that, it's like you gotta cool down, chill out.
It's just
10 minutes, 20 minutes is all you need in the man stew.
Isn't the summer tours the best?
If the AC works in the van, summer tours are the best.
yeah. Shout out to Volition. What the fuck? What's going on with our AC?
It works now. We had to figure it out though. Don't hit us with all this like technical shit we have to do to get the van working.
We're not that type of person.
Fuck no.
No, but it's been good. You've been having fun. You've been relaxing.
Hell
no.
No, I've been relaxing. I'm doing laundry right now. You know, clean pants are you have to have clean pants.
Clean pants. Got the undies? They clean?
That's the only problem about summer tour. We sweat through fucking
too much. Yeah. My pants like reek after like 3 shows.
And you wear all black, so it's just like white salt.
Yeah, it's like fucking tie dye.
It's like a fucking
without wanting to have tie dye.
You ready for Peach Fest? You ready?
Fuck yeah, I'm ready for Peach Fest.
It's going down.
I don't know about the main stage. It's our first time at the main stage.
I know. People are talking shit. They're like, they want us on the pool deck, but fuck it. We got to grow.
You can only crowd surf to the pool so many times.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you. Exactly.
Kill it, baby. Kill it.
Go. Thank you, Andy Avila. Thanks for being on the show. Andy
Beats over
here.
here.
We might as well get the whole crew in here. Another guy, he's actually going to do the pitch for Dialed In Gummies because he reps Dialed In Gummies so hard. Jason,
get over here.
He's drinking coffee.
Get over here, you homogenous, lovely man.
Get over here. Ladies and gentlemen, our sound man, our show pony, he's been having to fix my keyboard, and now he's fixing the coffee machine.
He can't stop fixing things.
Jason Burdett, how you doing, buddy?
Bring it in here, Jay.
Jay.
Getting greedy on the coffee machine. It wasn't ready yet. I'm like, no, we need it now. Just woke up.
This man, I've never seen a man sleep so much in my life. This man sleeps.
Yeah, I'm like a damn koala bear.
How you doing?
I need 22 hours of sleep a day.
Oh, my God. How you feeling about the tour? You sad that it's over? You ready to go home?
Glad we're out of a fucking brewery.
Yeah. Yeah, brewery shows are not that tight.
They can be. Some of them can be.
Yeah.
Pisgah was great.
Those
people
brewery
take
was
care
great.
of us. I mean, the crew last night and the staff was great. Just some of those spots are just not
Sometimes they don't think that, oh, yeah, we're putting on a professional music show. And they...
At a place where we're making booze. Yeah. Where you're making the booze, that's where you want the show to be.
Yeah, that could be
the
dangerous.
venue there was a little dicey, but the crowd was good. So, and the crew was good.
Yeah, the crew was great.
What's been going on with my keyboard?
I don't know. We're going to find out today, actually.
You're going to open it up and shit?
No, I'm just going to take a listen to it today on headphones and make sure that, it's actually working right.
Yeah.
And maybe it's that party machine.
Yeah.
That thing's been riddled with problems.
Yeah,
lately.
what's going on?
It might just need to be rewired. Who knows, man?
Fuck.
There's a lot going on with that fucking thing.
What, we got to do our Dialed In Gummies promo, and I feel like you're the man for the promo this week because every time I come home, you're asking me for a fucking cases of Dialed In Gummies.
I go through them like crazy. That's part of the reason why I sleep so well.
Why? Because the gummies?
Yeah.
Why do you like them?
Well, one, the flavor. The flavor's great, and because they're homogenous.
Let's go. Big words. Big words here in the fucking podcast today.
How about that? Waking up and saying homogenous.
Let's go.
So if you literally, if you take half, you're getting half the dose. And I think it was sometime last year I had them in my backpack, right? The container melted.
Oh, fuck.
But because they're homogenous, I was able to weigh it, divide that shit up evenly, and still got my even 10 dose.
Right.
They're 10 milligrams. But they're great.
You weighed it?
I weighed it.
Like a drug dealer.
Like a drug dealer.
Like a fucking addict. He's like, I need my fix. I know my exact fix.
I'm such a lightweight when it comes to weed that anything more than 10 be knocked off.
I'm like
my
that
ass
too.
for like days. So
I have panic attacks after 10 milligrams, so I smoke mids.
Yeah.
The roulette?
Yeah.
The roulette.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, double. The roulette was insane.
When
oh, my God.
The 50 milligrams versus everyone else had 10. One person had 50. And, of course, it was me who got the 50. Fuck that.
Your face was so green. You had a green jacket on, and your face matched it perfectly.
Yeah.
And that's the moment we knew you lost.
I saw my body enter a different realm. And I was looking at my body, watching my body. It was so meta. I was like, fuck this. But if you're in the Denver area and you want to have a perfect dosage of marijuana in a gummy, grab yourself some dialed in gummies. It's the best. Jason, we love you. Thank you.
Try the syrup too. The syrup's good.
You love the syrup. Putting those in cocktails and shit, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It goes great in margarita.
Yeah.
Anything citrusy.
Yeah.
What's it look like? What's it look like?
Oh, I was going to let that one slide.
It looks like
it does.
All right, guys. Get out of here, Jason. Thanks for being on the show. Thank you, Jason.
Give it up for Jason.
What a great plug for Dialed In Gummies. Let's get all the show ponies in here. Bo Polinsky, get in here.
Get in here.
We got our tour manager working hard. This man works harder than any guy I've ever met in my life. Bo Polinsky, how we doing?
How you boys doing? What's up?
I gotta ask you something, Bo. You're gonna be sad when Skippy leaves, huh?
Sure am.
Do you think Jason's jealous that you found another love interest?
I don't think so. I think we've got a nice three-way relationship thing going.
You guys all just you guys let me have my own room. Well, I appreciate it. But you guys all share a room together?
Always.
So do you guys split one person has to split a bed with somebody?
No, Jason and I always volunteer to sleep together.
That way I don't have to listen.
Does that make you? Oh, because you're snoring.
I'm cool with that.
You guys snore crazy.
We snore.
Do you guys ever wake each other up snoring? No.
That's the beauty. We don't.
Fucking sick fucks.
We go butt to butt.
We'll enter a room and I'll go, you want that side, right? Like I know what side he likes to sleep on and shit, So immediately we know where we're at and we're back to back. Sometimes we roll over and we're face to face, wake up in the middle of the night, you're like, oh, startle you a little bit, but look at that face. How could you be upset?
Yeah. This is the best crew on the planet. Oh, man.
I think if anything, Jason should be a little more jealous because he's hopping off tour first.
I know. Oh, yeah, you got 2 days. You're not doing Peach Fest. I forgot. Yeah, I know. You're always on that Outer... don't you come here, Outer Banks? No, it's my anniversary. Oh, no. Oh, it's your anniversary? Common law, baby. When you're together with someone for 15 years, you don't even have to get married. You just start calling it an anniversary. So shout out to Common Law. Let's fucking go. How you doing, Bo? You tired, stressed out? You feeling good?
Yeah, but I mean, we got a day off. I'm not... Nah. Nothing to be stressed
I feel like
about.
we're good, right?
We're going to have a chill day.
We're gonna-
dinner.
we're gonna go to sushi?
Fuck yeah. Maybe hit the beach again.
Oh, my God.
Make some more
Everyone.
stew.
Yeah.
Get up here.
You want to do
Yeah.
the pitch for volume.com before we bring our mayor, our Lord and Savior, Shawn Eccles, in here?
Volume.com. It's for artists, but I don't remember the volume one.
You edit the fucking podcast with me every week. You don't know the fucking plug for volume.com?
They are
Volume.com.
Head over there for all of your video needs.
No. These guys pay us too much for this fucking shitty ass promo. Volume.com. If you're in a band, if you're an entertainer, get on there. Be a content creator. That's all you got to do. Volume.com/creator. Live streams are the way of the future, people. Albums are cool. They come in. I mean, it's great. You get the album, no problem. But people need content, and they need content now.
They need it.
So you need to get out there and join volume.com and be one of the content creators. And if you're not a content creator and you just want to listen to badass live concerts or our podcast, you want to look at our faces, we're sweaty as hell. It's fucking humid as shit out here in North Carolina. Go to volume.com. All the podcasts are archived. And a bunch of shows are archived. You can watch Daniel Donato. You can watch Grateful Dead, I think. You can watch Fish, maybe. I'm just making up bands, but they're probably on there. They're probably on there. So get yourself out there and listen to watch volume.com shows. Yeah, that was a plug. Way to go, Bo. That was a great plug. I'll pretend like you're talking and I'll just do the talk. What a week. What a tour. It's been fun. It's been a lot, and that's okay. But we're out here. So thank you for working hard. I know the van has been having trouble. My keyboard's been having trouble, but we're fucking killing it.
Yeah, Jason, the Nord's downstairs, so we can start working on that next. All right, Bo, get out there, go get some work done so we can go eat some sushi. Last but not least, our show pony, he's eating cereal, looking out the window, just pondering life through a hangover. Sean Eccles, get over here, buddy. Come on, come on, bud. My show pony.
Get over here.
There he is. The man who's just out here day by day, working his ass off, getting the things he needs to get done.
Rock
Sean,
God.
Rock God. Everyone says it. You are the rock God. Do you feel it?
Yes. Man, it's been great, man. How are you doing?
Good. I'm tired. Are you tired?
Yeah, but we got the day off. We can recharge right now. Everything's going to be great. We're going to Virginia Beach.
Oh, yeah. You're home.
Started my rock and roll journey. My first band, Menace, played the Lynn Haven Junior High School talent show. 1993, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, man. So, and then my other metal band, Malicious Encounter, Cox High School. We're going back to the stomping grounds of metal. So I'm excited.
Mental.
Yeah, we played there once, and it was like a really small place or something like that. So I'm stoked to go. I got my brother's old bass player, Pat, who's a lawyer now, coming out, and like I'm trying to resurface all my old buddies from high school and stuff. It's been like 20 some years, but
amazing.
I'm going in.
What's it like going back to a town where you were a fucking you're Army brat or a Navy brat, that you've been in all these towns like only for 2 years, but like Virginia Beach feels like Springfield to you because you were there for a long time.
I was there thank you for this microphone, Skip. In the 80s, I was alive, and first through fifth grade. Went to Trentwood Elementary School.
Holy shit.
My parents bought a house there, and we moved around a bunch, and we came back in like 8th grade. I was the new kid in 8th grade. It was awesome. It sucked. And but that's why I got all angsty. Well, not ever makes you who you are. Cuts you out, right? Carves you out. But yeah, so I was there more there than most places in my life. So it's
maybe that's why you have trust issues.
Why?
Because you always had to go to a different school to find new friends. Like,
well, yeah,
that's I don't know if it's trust issues, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like angst. Like you have this like angst.
Yeah,
that's why you play guitar so good.
I mean, okay, I think that was the one constant in my life was guitar, and I got moved around every time. Didn't have friends longer than 2 years a lot until I met these motherfuckers.
That's why
I'm talking about.
That's why it's fucked up. That's why it's like it's cool to see the world when you're a kid, but like as a kid getting pulled to all these different jobs that your parents are doing.
Yeah, it was tough.
It's got to be fucked up.
Yeah, it's tough. And like I didn't have friends that were like my buddies, like Dolovs, your homie for your whole life.
Yeah,
it's like I have my brother, my parents, but
yeah,
it's like until I was in band.
It's different.
It's different. Yeah.
Well, you got us, Sean, and you're never fucking leaving my sight.
Let's go, motherfuckers.
Yes. You hear that, Luke, from the special? He's in our bands.
Shred a week, Lukey.
Shred a week, Lukey. All right, Sean. Thanks for being on the show. Go eat some cereal. Go drink some water. We're out here in these streets.
And I just want to say also, when it comes to Sean, if you see Sean, make sure you have him break down his theory on tubes at some point. Okay.
Oh yeah. What is it?
Everything. Well, Sean, do you want to come back over for 1 second? Because this is pretty serious.
Tubes. What does this mean?
Everything in life. It's
tubes are alive?
Interconnected series of tubes.
Cars are tubes. The vans are tubes. Buses are tubes. Trains are tubes. Planes are tubes.
What's the blood in your system running through right now?
Veins, which are
tubes.
Thank you. Yeah. Just keep going.
What are you hearing through right now?
What's that? My ears?
Your ears.
My ears.
Yeah. The canals?
The canals. They're ear tubes. That's
Tubes.
right. It's all
Ear
tubes.
tubes.
Series of tubes, pastas tubes. I mean, we could keep going.
Last night we were in the hot tube.
Hot tube.
I mean the hot
right.
tub. But
look, Skippy's really enjoying my theories here. Let's get to, life's just a series of tubes. People navigate them. All right,
navigate them properly.
Shit, that is the weekly motivation. I don't need to say nothing. That is the weekly motivation. Come on,
it's a complex series of tubes, ladies and
give
gentlemen.
us the weekly motivation.
Here's the weekly motivation. I said this to Bobolinsky and he reminded me. Excuse me. So, life is just kind of like that tunnel. You're heading right for it. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That light at the end of the tunnel is either a way out or it's a train coming right at you to hit you. Good luck, everybody.
Oh my God. What the fuck? I've never seen this man give me what?
He's on
Truth
one.
bombs. Truth bombs out here. Sean Eccles. God damn. See, everyone, this whole band surprised me every single
This is what the beach
day.
does to us.
I know. We're recharged. We're
new
feeling
people.
good. We're ready for the week. We're going to have a great week. We got Bob Moses on the show this week. You know Bob Moses?
I do now.
Dude, badass. These guys are fucking badass, and they're blowing up. What?
Oh my
God! There's our that's our other show pony, ladies and gentlemen.
Here.
Floyd Kellogg finally wakes up. It's 4 p.m. Come on,
get over here.
4
Get over
p.m.
here.
Unbelievable. Get over here. We don't have time, Floyd, for you to just fucking take your time over here. Grab a
some
piece of bacon.
Come on.
Floyd, seriously, it's been 20
My
minutes already on the
biological
podcast.
father. He finally came up here.
Floyd, I saw Floyd.
Nope,
Get over here.
in the
Over
middle,
here.
in the middle, right
Drink
here.
some of that Bloody
Bring the
Mary.
Bloody. Come on.
I saw Floyd yesterday surfing with dolphins.
I saw it.
Did you see that? How was that experience for you, Floyd?
I got some dolphin come on me.
Hell yeah. So what was it like? Were you feeling euphoric out there? Just I know you love to shred the gnar.
I thought I was in danger for a minute.
Why? You got scared?
For a second, I was like, what do you do? I've never been in the water with dolphins.
Did you think it was a shark?
No, I was like, wait a minute. People do this all the time. They like pet them and, have fetish shit with them.
But
whatever.
yeah, because you know what else happens? They have prehensile dicks.
Right, yeah.
It's like a
What does that
elbow.
mean?
There's an elbow in it. It can grab you. They'll take you down.
The dick?
They'll take you down in a rape
The
cave.
dick will?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. You know some weird shit, man.
Skivvy, what have you been up to lately, okay?
No, I'm terrified
Floyd,
of dolphins.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there.
Okay, good. All right, thanks, Floyd. Thanks for your rendezvous. Thank you, Floyd. Wow.
He left it all on the stage.
He left it all on the stage. You hear it in his voice. Sounds like Kermit the Frog. Oh, times are tough out here. I've been surfing all day, then I rock a show, but my life is so hard. I got to talk like this.
It's not easy being Floyd. You
No.
know?
But we got Bob Moses. These guys are badass Canadians. They're in like the EDM world or dance music world, but great musicians, great songwriters. Their story is amazing. Hey, Chris, play some Bob Moses while I pimp them out a little bit before we start the interview. I love these guys. It was my first time meeting them. It's a very inspiring story. They knew each other in high school, and then they moved to New York. One of the guys got really big in music early in his life, and then the other guy was working on music. And then they go to New York and they meet again, and they join a band because they weren't friends in high school.
Oh, really?
And then they became musical partners and started blowing up. Now they're fucking huge.
Damn.
It's fucking awesome. So you're gonna love this interview, guys. Thank you for everything. This has been a great week. Shout out to Volume. Shout out to Dialed In Gummies. Next week, when this podcast airs, the weekend we are playing in Rochester, New York.
We're coming.
And with Ripe, that'll be fun. Ripe and I will be a fun show. And then Buffalo, we're back, reunited with the Little Stranger Boys.
Let's go. Here we go.
Cobblestone Live, baby. We're going back to the motherland where Bo first entered a chick, and we're back. We're gonna see all his little girlfriends are gonna show up and say hi, Bo. I always see him out there. So it's gonna be fun. So guys, stay happy, stay positive. Skippy, it's been a pleasure. Always a pleasure in my life working with you, bro.
Likewise.
Anytime,
Love you, bud.
Anytime you want, you got a seat in our van.
Let's go.
I know Little Strangers first, so you're number ones, but we are your side bitches.
You are.
Okay, thank
They're
you.
my bottom bitch.
They're your bottom bitch. I'll get the residue from whatever happens afterwards.
There's no sloppy seconds in that van.
No, there is. All right, guys. Love you.
Peace.
Tom and Jimmy, how we doing, guys?
We're good. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. A lot of questions. Have you ever had like a dry spell in your creative process where like maybe you're burnt out, maybe you're just doing too much and you're trying to like write new tunes and it just wasn't coming out, maybe because of low dopamine, maybe because you're overworked. You ever had any dry spells in the band?
We get stuck, but I think we've always had a pretty constant, knock on wood, output of like, maybe that'll last for a minute. We've been stuck on songs, and maybe sometimes we've spent like when we were younger, like you get attached to stuff a bit like more like you're like now we're older and we kind of know, okay, like skip that one, start another one, or like work on something else, Yeah. We're not as attached, I think, as we used to be to the whole thing. And you realize sometimes you have to write for the wastebasket. But luckily there hasn't been like a month or something where it's like, oh, I have no idea what to do or what to write or what to say. So
I mean,
hopefully that
I think the worst that we've fallen prey to is that, like, maybe all our ideas are shit, but they're still ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to throw.
Rather have shitty ideas and no ideas.
Yeah, I'd rather have like 10 shitty ideas and then just keep coming than no ideas, like Jimmy just said. So, I mean, all these great people like Quincy Jones and Pharrell and all these guys have always said, like, go in and do the work. Like, the work is different from inspiration. Like, inspiration is going to ebb and flow. You're going to get ideas. The ideas aren't really yours, but your job is to go in and do the actual work. Like Quincy Jones always said, like, learn the method, like learn theory and learn how the instruments work and learn how to produce and learn like the actual mechanics of it, because the inspiration is going to come and go, and that's kind of like separate. And Pharrell says, like, just go in and do the work every day, because, like, it's going to come and go. And also, like, I saw a quote by Daniel Arsham, or however you say his name, that visual artist recently, that said, like, most great things are either made by accident or by mistake, or just, you stumbled upon them. And it's just about like going in and making stuff every day, like try to leave the judgment to later.
Yeah.
And I think we try to employ that. It's hard to leave the judgment to later, but I'm working on it.
What do you think is your favorite accident from your musical catalog?
I mean, they're all sort of like little happy accidents, you just stumble into the ideas. But, I think really, I mean, now we've gotten like kind of a wide array of songs that, we're really grateful to have a catalog that people kind of want to come see. So I'd say any of those,
Yeah.
They all feel like accidents. It all feels like an accident.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like, because it's like I'm really into studying athletes and how they just every day just grind it out, free throws, jump shots, preparing for that time where, their magic moment. How do you approach that on the road? Do you guys write on the road?
Unconsciously, I'd say we've written.
Yeah, I mean, I have ideas on the road, but like there's the having an idea part, and then there's the like actually going in and fleshing it out part. And like when you're at home, you go in to the studio even when you don't have an idea, and you start just trying to make something.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're on the road, typically you get an idea and you say, oh, okay, I'll work on that later. Or like you record it in your phone, or like, you do like the bare bones to memorize it, and then you like file it in to work on later. So we don't typically have, like, there's been a couple of times where we've like been on the road and like had a few days off and booked a studio session and done something.
Mm-hmm.
Like Enough to Believe came out that way, and Desire came out that way. But like, that's rare because usually we're so busy when we're on the road.
Right. Especially with you guys having a kid, Jimmy's having a kid. What about you, Tom? You got a girlfriend, wife, anything, or you just?
I got a wife, I got a kid, and I got another kid coming soon.
Oh, let's go, boys. Damn. Delegation. Let's fucking go. So
just fucking life full throttle enough,
Yeah. Who taught you work ethic? Was it your parents, or was it a teacher? Who taught you to stay focused on the music and not let the partying get to your head?
I think that's probably like a natural thing. Just as like Tom and I, this is interesting because we both grew up in the same city. We went to the same high school.
Didn't you guys go to the same middle school too?
There's no middle school in Canada.
There's not in Vancouver. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But like, we finished, I guess, what would be middle school together, right? Like grade 6 and 7 of elementary. And then we went over to high school together. And the thing is that we were at this school where like a lot of kids, it was like a sort of like a prep school for going to like Ivy Leagues and stuff. And like Tom and I always wanted to do music, but we were surrounded by this culture of like, you know, you have to go become a doctor, a lawyer, go do something crazy. And we both wanted to do music. And also in Vancouver, it felt like a difficult goal to have, you know, like in America, it's like if you're in LA and New York, or even if you just have an American passport, you can get to a city, American citizen, you can get to a city where there's a vibe. But like Canada, you know, we're so grateful to be there. But to quote Robin Williams, it does feel like a loft apartment over a really great party, you know,
like Great Gatsby style.
At least growing up, it did, you know, like,
you know, like it's like, oh, a lot of our favorite bands are in like, oh, all the big labels are there. And it just feels like there's a musical history and things to them. Like the culture of America is so important in the world, you know?
Yeah.
And we grew up so close to it. And so you really feel it, you know? And I think that the ambition to be a successful musician coupled with being in this environment that was like, you need to work your ass off, even to get what's called a normal job. And so I think it kind of sinked into our mind, like, damn, we're going to have to work like 10 times harder than all these kids that want to be doctors, lawyers, whatever, because not only are we in Canada to make it harder, but like we're in Vancouver, we're disconnected, we're at this school, no one gives a shit. And it just set off this work environment or this work ethic of like, you gotta hustle, you know?
Right.
And I've just felt that since I was a teenager, and I know Tom felt the same way. So I think it's environment. I think it's where we grew up. I think there's a lot of factors, but those all played a part for sure.
Yeah, and it seems like it's harder to break a band from Canada into America for some reason.
Sure.
And,
I mean,
yeah.
We moved to the States for that reason, because we started the band in New York. I mean, I moved to the States because I thought, oh, if I'm on the East Coast, I can drive anywhere. I can drive 4 hours in any direction and hit more people than I can driving across Canada and back. You know?
Right. What about Oh, sorry.
Sorry?
What about the grants? Don't Canadians like give grants to musicians to like help them keep their dreams going?
They do.
Did you guys take any grants?
We never got any grants, I don't think.
Canada has a really good support in the arts program. And also I think our fear is that we grew up listening to a heavy dose of like alternative Canadian radio, which is awesome. Like Vancouver alternative radio in the late 90s, early 2000s, you know, we had like all the big American bands, but also Canada has a lot of really awesome acts. And unfortunately, some of them only stay big in Canada. And I think our fear was to put all this time, effort, and energy in something that felt contained because of where it was made geographically.
Right.
That felt sort of like, and there's so many talented Canadian bands that, you know, they'll get big, they'll start playing arenas in Canada, go down and have to play 600-person clubs in the States and be then like, you know, they're like, we don't want to start from square one again.
Right.
And we thought, you know what, if we can make it in America, there's probably a pretty good chance when we go back to Canada, people will hopefully accept it as well. And thankfully, you know, we tour great in Canada. We don't do as many of the small little places that, you know, I think a typical band that's quite big in Canada would do. But we're fortunate to be able to go back to the major cities, have great shows. And I'm so happy we made the move that we did and you know, had the band in Brooklyn and all that, and rather than the other way around.
Well, I don't think Bob Moses would exist if it wasn't like in its what it is. Like we were made because of Brooklyn, you know?
Right.
Like Bob Moses exists the way it does. Like when Jimmy and I started working together, I mean, we knew we wanted to make cool, super cool sounding electronic music, but we wanted to write like the best songs we possibly could. And we didn't know exactly what that was going to be like, whether that was going to be like more like a Justice vibe or a Broken Bells vibe or like a what were we going to do, you know? And so, so it was because of the rave scene in Brooklyn that we were a part of that we kind of gravitated towards Frank and Tony and that sound of what the sort of sound that we found and started in and started experimenting with. And that was sort of like the birth of Bob Moses in the sense of sonically and the name and all that stuff, you know? And I think that we might've been a different band well, first of all, we might not have ever met up if we hadn't have been in New York.
Right.
And secondarily, I think that we might have been a totally different band if we had been in some different scene in some different city, you know? Like the New York very much shaped our sound and our what we became, sort of.
Yeah, and I want to talk about those New York, that beginning years. Before I do that, I was curious, like, did you guys like each other in high school? Like, were you homies? Like, did you guys think you guys were full of shit? Like, what was the vibe?
We weren't close in high school.
Yeah,
like,
that's
which
what I
is
heard.
so funny because we're best friends now. But like, we were just on different paths in high school. And we were both the other guy doing music. You know, Tom was doing singer, songwriter, acoustic stuff. That was awesome, and he had a buzz going, and I was like playing in clubs, playing trance music. So at that time, those two worlds couldn't have been further apart. You know, but we both sort of knew we were the other guy taking music seriously. You know,
so there was like this respect of like, all right, this guy's doing his own thing. Maybe it's not what I'm doing at the moment. Just amazing how New York brought you guys together. Like, what was it in New York that you just felt like you were simpatico? Because Tom, you went to Berkeley, right?
Yeah, I went to Berkeley for a year.
Yeah, no one ever finishes Berkeley. Like, give me your take on that. Like, why?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that like I went to Berkeley because I finished high school. I had started playing like punk and rock bands, and then I had like my first high school girlfriend, and I got all like sappy, and I did the acoustic thing because I was like sick of the politics of band, and I wrote all the songs anyways, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I put this little EP out, and it like kind of did well, like Jimmy said, and I had a bit of a buzz going. And then I had like a development deal with this record company, and I deferred. My family's all quite academic. Like my grandfather was a theoretical physicist, and my mom was a lawyer, and my dad is an engineer, and my stepmom's a doctor. Everybody's like very academic. So there was a lot of this pressure to go to school and get a degree and become educated. And I really wanted to do music. So because I had like some real buzz going in Vancouver, I was able to defer university for a year and then do this sort of development deal, which ended up like a complete disaster, basically.
What happened?
Like they wanted to make me into like, they really liked my acoustic thing, but I sort of felt like, well, this is just me like writing the songs and before I've produced them. And like, this is not, you know what I mean? Like, this is not what I want to do. And they really wanted to try and make me into like, you know, Jeff Buckley or something. And I love Jeff Buckley, but I didn't want to be just like a singer-songwriter dude. And in the studio, I was trying to experiment with the studio and push stuff and make stuff sound cool, but they just kind of wanted to make it more like, let's make a radio hit, you know? And so we really just like went like this, and we kind of didn't get on, and it wasn't great. It was a very informative experience, but not a creatively fulfilling or successful one. And then I kind of went to university because I didn't really know what else to do, and I was a bit lost, and I kind of was basically just flunking out of university because I was just doing music all the time, playing clubs and stuff. And then my mom suggested, well, why don't you apply to Berkeley, because then you're like still going to school, but it's like music, you know? And so I did that, and I got a partial scholarship. But even with the partial scholarship, being from Canada, like the university is just so expensive in the States that my parents couldn't really afford to send me to Berkeley, even though I had some help, you know, from the scholarship. So, and plus my dad was a professor at UBC, so I could like basically go to school for free. So there was like spend tons of money to go do a music degree or go to school at a great university for free. And that was kind of like a hard sell, not only to my parents, but to me. So anyways, we all agreed that I would go for 1 year at least and then see what happened. And so I think I kind of I was just always trying to like kick the can down the road in terms of like, I want to keep doing music. I want to keep trying. What's the next best step, you know? Yeah. And so going to Berkeley seemed like the next best step. And I thought I'd figure out the rest later. And so I went, and I had a great time. I learned a ton. And, you know, back to your question about like where you learned work ethic. I think like part of my work ethic was just like being scared shitless about the future, you know, and being scared shitless about like, I know I want to do this music thing, and it seems impossible, and everybody tells me it's impossible. And so I just have to like basically work, like all I have to do is focus on this until it either becomes reality or I've decided that I have to fail and go do something else, you know?
Yeah.
So that was especially evident at Berkeley. I was staying in this like, we rented me this super shitty apartment in Alston, and
yeah, I know.
And
Alston.
like with like mice and rats and all this shit, and so we, you know, I just worked super hard, and then I started playing gigs right away because I didn't want to just like be in the school, you know. I was trying to like, I always had this idea of like you have to like be playing and like getting in the scene, you know.
Yeah.
And so after a year at Berkeley, I just realized like it's great here, but finishing a music degree is not what I need to do to like get me further towards my goal of having a music career. So I'm just gonna like try and figure out the next step. And the next step for me was to move to either LA or New York. And I had already been playing in New York quite a bit at like different little venues and stuff.
Right.
And I was able to like finagle some like student visa extension program to allow me to stay in the States or something like that. And so I just like, that was the next kick of the can, you know, down the road, get me to New York.
Yeah. You know, and you know what's wild about it is like that idea of getting a degree and having $160,000 in debt, and then like, oh yeah, now you're a musician. You know, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like that's,
you know?
like the worst. That's a horrible idea. Unless that's nothing to your folks.
Yeah.
Which, you know, lots of kids at Berkeley, like that's nothing to their folks.
It's like a trust
that's
fund.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like not even the trust fund, just like their parents are wealthy enough that they can send them, and it's not that big a deal, you know. And that's cool. I think that's great if that's your thing, but that wasn't my situation. And I think that like, you know, the price of secondary education in America is ridiculous anyways, but it seems even more ridiculous. Like if you're going to become like, if you're studying pre-med, or you're going to be an engineer, or you're like you're learning how to code in San Francisco, or like, you know, you're doing something that's like has a very obvious next step in practical application, then I can see like the rationale behind doing it. But if you're literally just doing it to become a musician,
yeah,
it feels like not the best way.
Yeah,
totally. You can learn everything just off the internet and working hard.
Yeah.
The thing that was great about Berkeley was like the people I met, the connections I made, and also like the extracurricular stuff. Like, you know, in the year that I was there, like Derek Sivers, who started CD Baby, came and gave a talk. John Mayer came and gave a talk. Paul Simon came and gave a talk.
Right.
Lindsey Buckingham came and gave a talk. Like, you know what I mean? The Beyonce's manager and dad came and gave a talk. Like, that was pretty nuts to be able to get and see all those people in like a room of 100 people and telling you advice, you know?
Yeah. And that's beautiful too. And it's like, man, I just think about that. Like my parents were, my family's all like education and scientists and stuff. There must have been a ton of pressure for you to succeed and show them that you could actually fucking do this, you know, and not go on the path of your family with education and stuff. Were your parents supportive of the idea at first, or was it always like pulling teeth to get them to understand your vision?
Oh, I was very lucky. My parents were super supportive. My mom and dad had different styles of showing their support. You know, my dad's like from Scotland, and he's very much like, you know, I support you in music. My dad's a great musician himself, but he was always like, you know, you got to find your own way and figure it out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was a bit more like, okay, well, let's talk. What she likes to, you know, she would sort of say like, well, what do you think is the best way to do that, and what are you going to do? She liked to like hear what I had to think about it, and her, you know,
that's
Berkeley
dope.
Was her idea. Yeah, so I mean, but they were both, and my stepmom and stepdad. I mean, my stepdad introduced me to Nirvana, so he was super supportive, and my stepmom was supportive as well. So yeah, everybody was pretty supportive in their own way. But there was still I don't know if it was partially. I mean, it's obviously my own take on it, but there was still, to my feeling, an undercurrent of like, okay, that's nice, you want to be a musician, but like, and give it a shot, and we support you. But
Right.
like, you know, we look forward to talking to you in a few years when you realize that the world is real and you need to get a real job.
I'll clap to that. That's good parenting. That's good parenting right there.
Yeah.
Shout out to the parents.
They are good. My parents are great. My parents are great parents, you know?
So, you know, and then speaking of that, then Jimmy, your success since you're 18, tell me about Ultra Records and like, did you guys know about each other by 18 yet? Like, did you know that, that Jimmy was starting to pop off, Tom? Or this is like completely different. You were at Berkeley. Jimmy, were you in New York?
I was in New York. Yeah. When I had made that, so I did that remix for Sia that got put on Ultra Records, which like, I remember
at 18,
I did that I was just finishing, I just had left Vancouver and that was like the first song and they signed it and like, they were going to give me like a record deal and all this. And they just put out that big Dead Mouse album. And I remember it was like very exciting, you know?
Yeah.
But I also was kind of like, I was in New York and there was this whole like cool underground scene. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to make this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like when you're 18, I feel like, at least me anyway, I was very wishy-washy and very like apprehensive about the whole thing.
Right.
I felt like,
because
I don't know if
you don't have an identity yet.
Yeah.
As 18. That's what I felt with the record deal in Vancouver. Like I was a similar situation. Like you're 18, you don't have an identity and somebody's trying to tell you like, this went a little bit well, do this.
Yeah.
This is going to, you know what I mean? And as an 18-year-old, you're a bit like, fuck off.
Yeah. I didn't feel like, the thing is like I remember Pete Tong played it and like I went to the Ultra Christmas party and they were like, this is one of the highest selling singles we've had all year. And like, they were like, you should just keep making more of this. And I wasn't into it, you know?
Right.
Like, and that like exactly what Tom said. It's like, you're conflicted because it's like, oh damn, I've been working really hard. Something's taking off. I don't want to be one of those self-sabotaging musicians you always hear about that does something great and then goes like, nah, fuck it. I'm going to go make some weird avant-garde shit.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I hear you.
And like just push it. And like, so you're like, I was really conflicted, but but I had this feeling in my gut. I was like, I was also hanging around enough talented and music and DJs who had made it to kind of know, oh, there's this thing in the DJ world where like you make a track, it's popular for a month and they're on to the next thing. And shelf life isn't really that big of a thing unless you get really lucky and have like a huge hit that, you know,
right,
ends up being popular for forever. But I really loved songs and a lot of DJ tracks at the time, what was big, like they weren't really song focused. They were tracks, you know? And I was like, it'd be really great to be able to mix this dance music culture with songs and do it in a way that had the, you know, longevity of a New Order or something, a Depeche Mode or a way to do that. And that was just in my head back then, but I didn't really know how to make that happen, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? This Ultra Records progressive-y thing, this doesn't feel like it. And I'm going to go back to the drawing board. And I started ghost producing for other acts. Is what my solution was. I was like, which is basically like, for me, going to like the University of how to make records, you know?
Right.
And right before Tom and I started working together, I linked up with this guy, Philip Young, from a group called Mandy, who were famous for this hit Body Language. And they ran a record label. And, you know, they were real DJs running a record label, making money. And also Philip was an incredibly good A&R and knew what worked on a dance floor. And so when I was working with him and Tom and I started working together, Philip was actually very instrumental and inspiring Tom and I in like almost being like a mentor figure. So we started like I would work with him and like back then we had this arrangement where like when Tom and I were starting out, like he would pay for our flights to Europe. They would help pay for accommodations when we were touring. And it would be like, I would go work for them in the studio a few days a week. And Tom and I would like, you know, tour in Europe. Like they would just help, you know? Yeah. And he was very, very instrumental in almost being like an A&R figure and mentor, even though we never released the music with him.
What did he teach you? Like, what did he teach you about the world?
Kind of like he was this really interesting mix of a guy who had great eclectic musical taste. Like he loved indie rock. He loved pop music. He used to work at Jive. And so he knew it was hard to find someone who understood the whole landscape of the things that Tom and I were interested in, you know, because you can find advice from people who are very like horse blinders. So they only look at the house music scene and that's all they think of. Or they only look at pop and major labels and that's all they think of. Philip could dance. Philip had great success, but also understood underground culture. And so we knew that if we had kind of written something that had a poppy, like Philip could, there was a moment in time where Philip was like, oh, this is sick. We kind of knew it probably had covered the pop accessibility with enough underground thing to make it new and cool. Right. And so he was sort of like a barometer, as well as some other people at the time. But he was very sort of influential on us about like as a soundboard to test stuff on, you know? And I think at the time when we were finding our identity, that was really, really useful. We had a few people that were sort of like mentors at the time. And I think we've said this a few times in interviews, like for any up and coming artists, finding someone, whether it's a friend or someone who works at a label, wherever you find it, someone who has a musical opinion that you genuinely trust. Right. That is so valuable, you know?
Right. I just think this is the one thing I love about life is how much you were looking for a guy like Tom and how Tom was looking for a guy like you, and you guys fucking grew up together without really knowing each other's vibes. Yeah. And that I just think that's the beauty of, you know, if we open our eyes a little bit, we're always going to find what we're looking for in a sense, you know. Tell me, like, if we don't, like you said about the ultra thing, like if you didn't realize, you're like, you could have just kept chasing the money. You could have kept chasing the paycheck and making these remixes that were kind of like, that weren't with your soul. Or you could say, nah, I hear you on that. I have dough now. I want to do my own thing. And now you guys meet in Brooklyn, I guess, right? How did you guys, what was that first interaction with each other on like, hey, we went to school together? Like, did you guys, who reached out to who? Tell me about that story of like you first meeting like each other's, like inspired by each other's musically to write songs.
Well, we ended up having a rehearsal space across a Lowe's parking lot in the same neighborhood. Uh-huh. And you used to have to walk across the parking lot to get to the subway. Right. And so we connected there, and it was kind of like
insane that we had.
What are you doing? What are you doing here? You know, like we had the rehearsal space, like we had like
That's so fucking crazy
studios, I guess, like really close to each other for like almost a year. We didn't even know, and then we ran into each other and we said what's up, and then we went for dinner, and because when you're a lonely Canadian in New York, that's what you see.
Hey, you're Canadian. I'm Canadian. Let's fucking have dinner. Yeah.
So we linked up and and we had dinner, and then we were kind of just like talking about what we'd been up to since high school, reminiscing and like filling each other in on the few years that had passed since we'd last seen each other. And we decided, let's get in the studio. Let's like just mess around, see what happens, Right. Fun. And then we ended up having a studio session, and like we had instant chemistry, like instant musical chemistry. Yeah. And it was felt really good. And
do you remember that first song?
Yeah. We wrote like 6 songs in 3 days. Well, 6 ideas. But we wrote this one thing called Rolling Fool, which we were really excited about, which has never seen the light of day.
Why not?
And it's like, but I remember that was the kind of thing. So like we booked a studio session to work with each other for like, I think a week, right? And then Tom went back home for sort of Christmas back to Canada because he was thinking about moving back home. And we had these like we wrote a bunch of demos in that week, like I still have the folder somewhere. And we were both really impressed with we knew it was the beginning of like, oh, this could be really great if we like spent every day 16 hours a day and 1 day a week partying, working on this. And so he decided, I was like, come live with me. And Tom moved in, and he moved in February 11th, 2011. Wow. And that was the moment that we just started going at it full tilt,
Fucking awesome. And then, dude, this is a fucking amazing story, bro. Tom, you were going to go home? You were going to go home?
We used to say, yeah, we used to like the neighborhood that we had our studio in. We were like, it was like a shitty fucking neighborhood. It was like right next to where a super fund and a big garbage heap and like where all the garbage trucks parked in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And like, it was like, it took us like an hour to get there every day on the subway. It was like a bit of a slog,
Mm-hmm.
And we used to say, like walking to and from the subway, man, if we ever make it, dude, like we have got like a great story, like it's a good story, like, because we always used to analyze, like, what's the secret? What do you like? We'd always grown up reading all about like, all our favorite bands and their stories. And obviously, when you tell a story in hindsight, when you're going through the life of a story, it just seems like every day, like, oh, here's another day. It seems a bit more monotonous. But when you tell it backwards and you just talk about the highlights and you leave out the fact that like you had to go, to 7-Eleven and get a Diet Coke or whatever, it seems more exciting. But yeah, we always used to joke about like, man, if we ever make it, like, there's quite a few serendipitous moments, so to speak, in our life that like, or in us meeting, and then like what's happened that kind of do make you, when we were feeling down in the dumps and sort of hopeless, and sort of like, oh,
what
God,
years was that?
Sorry,
what years were that when you're like feeling down in the dumps and feeling hopeless?
2011, 2012, 2013, the beginning, like, because I moved into Jimmy's in 2011, and then we worked for about 8 months before we kind of thought like, okay, well, this could be a vibe, what we're doing here. And then like Bob Moses kind of was born like maybe a year in, and then it took like another year of kind of like working on a few ideas and putting out a couple little things. And then like 2012, and then it was like 2013, but then we started getting, 2012, that year we started getting like a few gigs. Like somebody would fly us to Miami and like let us sleep on their floor, and we'd play for like $100. And somebody fly to San Francisco and we'd play for like $150. And then 2013 was the first year that, like, the end of 2013, we got invited to play Burning Man at Robot Heart, and we played it. And then the set came, they recorded the set and they released it in the beginning of September. And then October of that year was the first month that we had gigs every week. We had 2 gigs a weekend. Every weekend that month, and we had gotten like 2 or 3 more gigs, but we couldn't do them because we were already booked.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh my God, like, we're like, this is real,
Yeah.
We just turned down like 2 good gigs for at the time what we thought was like decent money, and like we just turned them down because we're already booked. This is insane. Oh my God, like, and then from then it's just been like busy.
Let's fucking go, boys. I fucking love this story. I fucking love it, dude. This is tight. Okay, so do you got a little time? Can we talk for a little longer? Is that cool?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so now let's talk about Days Gone By, like 2014. So you guys are on a buzz. When did you start making Days Gone By?
So we signed with Domino in beginning of 2014, end of 2013, somewhere in there, because we had put out this around the time that Tom's talking about. So end of 2013, we did Burning Man, and then we put out this thing in October called the Far From the Tree EP, which had like this song All I Want and Far From the Tree, and it was like, oh, there's a buzz. Like, we played a release party, and it was like sold out with like 300 additional people on the guest list kind of thing, and it was like, oh, this is a thing happening. And around that same time was when we were like, the label that we had started with, Scissor and Thread, who like was very instrumental in the beginning of our career. We realized that, we might be outgrowing this and might need to get onto a bigger label,
Did you have management, or were you guys running business by yourself?
Our friend was managing us, who like serendipitously now owns the label we're on.
That's a fucking crazy story, dude.
He doesn't own it, but yeah, sorry. He runs it.
He doesn't own it.
This is so...
But so Toby Andrews was the guy that managed us, and he was working for a PR firm at the time. And Toby and us had been friends for a minute, and he started managing us, and he was the one that went out, and actually Astral Works was one of the initial labels that wanted to sign us way back then. Yeah. And it was Domino, and I forget who else, a couple others.
Parlophone.
Domino was the one, because this is like, I'm going to try and make a long story short here, but like Domino had all these acts like Fortet, The Kills, Arctic Monkeys. They had Caribou, Junior Boys. They basically did rock and roll and dance music in a way that we thought was cool, you know? And we're like, we want to do rock and roll and dance music. And they're the only people that seem to get that. Yeah. And so we met with Susan, the A&R from Domino, for lunch. And I remember she said, what do you guys like need? Before what do you guys need from us? And Tom and I were like, just give us some money, leave us alone, and we'll go and like deliver a record, basically, you know?
Fucking love
and
you guys.
She was like, okay, like I think we can do that. And we took that money and rented a studio spot in Williamsburg. Yeah. We went from a $600 a month studio where the next door neighbor was a noise band that like we had to pick which times we were going to be there so we could record vocals without like getting through the mic. Yeah. And we were able to afford like a $1,200 studio, which at the time was a massive upgrade. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And that's where we started working on Days Gone By. Was just in Williamsburg, and it was just like we took some of little demos that we had already started. We went to London for a bit to tour and worked at Metropolis Studios and wrote some songs there. But over the course of the next year, we were basically just locked away in that room, like touring and making Days Gone By.
Yeah. So, like, what did you not like in the Metropolis sessions that you couldn't find versus what you found in your Williamsburg sessions? Was it you just felt more comfortable in Williamsburg than in London, or what?
I mean, it was comfortable both places. I think like the way that we've always made music is like, it's very much like, you know, because it's the production and the writing process is kind of blended together because it's of the nature of the kind of music it is, you know? Yeah. So we would just like drum up ideas, and in Metropolis and London, we came up with a bunch of ideas, and I think I forget what ideas started where, but like they definitely some of them definitely made it on the record, I think. But we were just kind of like, we were always touring, right? We were always, and it was more like DJ style touring, so it was like we were always most weekends we would go away and do gigs, right? So like we were over in London because we were touring in Europe. Mm-hmm. And so we'd kind of like go tour on the weekends and then come back in the studio. And then from like Monday to Thursday, be in the studio. And then like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, go do gigs and then come back Monday to Thursday in the studio. And Metropolis was just while we were over in London, that was just sort of a base, and then we came back to Williamsburg and kind of wrapped it all up.
How long did it take? How long did the record take?
Good question.
I mean, probably a year. I mean, it's hard because it's like it doesn't really work like that. It's just like you're always writing, you're always coming up with ideas, and then like when the time makes sense and when you have enough, things start coalescing into like a release.
Yeah.
So like we were like we had put out the EP, we signed with Domino, and we were still writing, and we were just writing, and then the next thing was like, I think we signed the deal in March of 2014, and
that Metropolis time was in April or May of 2014 is what we were over there for the spring, and then the album came out in September of 2015, which means we would have had to have handed it in 6 months before because they needed like 6 months lead time back then.
So pretty quick.
Probably around a year.
Yeah. Damn.
And the crazy thing is we started the writing sessions and ended the record both at Metropolis. And the funny thing is, people, if you Google Metropolis, you're going to be like, oh, damn, they worked at a baller studio. Partly true. A friend of Toby's worked there, and they gave us like this glorified sort of, it was next to like the janitor's room and where they fixed all the stuff. There was like this tiny little room that we basically got almost for free, right, Tom?
I don't know how much it costs. I just remember it being like, it was like the small little tiny room in the back, but it was great. It was nice. It had a little vocal booth. Like for us, it was perfect. You know, it had nice speakers and it sounded okay. And it was just like it was kind of like what we had. It was nicer than what we had in Williamsburg.
Totally.
Well, maybe about the same as what we had in Williamsburg. You know, like it was like a small, maybe a 15 by 20 room or less, 15 by 12, with some sound treatment on the walls and like some speakers and a desk, and we put our laptops and we had some guitars and maybe an amp in there, and a keyboard, and just have at her, you know?
As you get more successful, is there more pressure writing better songs, or is there less pressure?
I think there's an audience, you know?
Say that again?
Which that what you were making will have an audience, where when you're starting out, that's not a guarantee, you know?
Right.
And so I think with that, there comes some sort of expectation, but I think you have to ignore that and make what you want to make. And
right.
and as you get more successful, and as you realize no one really knows anything, including yourself, the more free you get with the idea of just make what you want to like, because there's a good chance someone else will hopefully like it, you know? As opposed to trying to guess what people will like, which is a dangerous game, you know? Because you don't really know what people will like. So if you're not making it for yourself and you're guessing, I think we should make this because like other people might like it. Sure, you might get lucky and get right with that, but you also, if that's the only reason you're making it and people don't like it, then you're going to find yourself in this conundrum of, I only did something for the reason of other people liking it, and now I don't even like this. And that's when like it becomes a bit of a disaster, you know?
Yeah. It's like that Dewey Cox syndrome. We need more didgeridoos, or we need a goat, you know, like walk on, bare bones. Like we're overthinking. It's like the same thing with life. We overthink life, I think, sometimes. Like 100%. As we get older, we think of like, what is happiness? We start thinking about what is happiness instead of just being happy in the moment. Like when you guys were just fucking broke living by a trash can, you weren't worrying about fucking the $1,200 a month fucking apartment. You're worried about, dude, we just got a cool studio, even though it's by some trash cans. Fuck it, you know. It's like we overthink things way too much, you know, and that's why this is a real Canadian success story, guys. This is really exciting. You don't hear a lot of Canadian success stories in the music industry, you know.
I mean, when you do, they end up being like Drake or Justin Bieber or Shawn Mendes or something crazy, you know.
Yeah. From the streets of Brooklyn. Our boys, Bob Moses, fucking shit up all around the country. I got two more questions if you don't mind.
Shoot.
This is great, guys. I'm so thankful. I have to talk about Jimmy's dad, who was a songwriter. For was your dad like Bryan Adams' songwriting partner?
Yeah, man, he was Bryan Adams' songwriting partner, but he also wrote with like Aerosmith and I mean like Ozzy Osbourne, like a ton of people. Alice Cooper, Joan Jett, like lots of stuff.
What did he teach you about songwriting that you remember so well?
The funny thing is that like the best thing I can say about growing up around in a musical household was that it made the dream seem achievable. It's not like he sat me down and was like, here's how you write songs. He was actually pretty like, let him figure it out on his own, you know?
Cool.
Which I think is a great way to be a parent, you know? Because I grew up around it, and it's kind of like, you know, in Canada, obviously hockey's really popular, and you see a lot of the times like kids or nephews or whatever of hockey players will end up becoming hockey players themselves because they see the hard work and what's required and the lifestyle in order to live the dream, you know? Right. And that's what I got. I got a first hand seat basically at like seeing what it takes and how hard you have to work and, you know, what sort of lifestyle you have to live in order to be a songwriter, you know? And I think that was the most inspiring thing. And like my dad loves, like, here's the thing. Most people that you see that do this, they just love doing it, you know, us included. Yeah. The love of doing it makes it not feel like work because it's fucking hard work, you know? Right. But we would listen to music in the car constantly. And like my dad loves the Beatles. And like he would listen to the Beatles and always say like, man, I have no idea how they did that. And like the little kid in him would come out, you know? Yeah. And it really, I learned that like making music really is sort of magic, you know? No one really knows how it's done. You can learn these skills. And from both my parents, I kind of learned that like, one, the dream is achievable. Two, you have to work really fucking hard. and 3, you got to love it. You know, you got to love it more than anything, because that's like, you have to do it not because anyone else cares, but because you care.
Yeah, because wasn't your mom a Canadian musician as well?
Yeah, she was in a band called Cano. She was a singer and songwriter.
Right.
And so I grew up in a very musical household, you know?
Sick.
And the funny thing is like they both didn't like dance music. So that's what I was like, this is my thing. You know?
This is my vibe.
Yeah. It's hard to, say this sometimes, and this is a true story. Like, it's hard to rebel against your parents when you play Slipknot and your dad's like, oh yeah, they're on this label that I worked with. Do you want to go meet him? Which I guess is like, sick. I got to go meet Slipknot, but like, how fucking uncool that, like, you know?
Yeah, I feel that's like not metal at all. You're going to metal.
It's like the most not metal thing at all of all time. It's
yeah,
like
I actually know their lawyer.
Thing.
Come on, son, let's go over there and have a cup of coffee.
That's literally what it's like. So how unfucking metal is that? And then like, I'm going and buying these like hard dance vinyls and going to raves, and my dad's like, this is fucking bullshit, you know? And I was like, score.
I got him.
Yeah.
Jimmy 1, Dad 0.
Totally.
That's great, man. It's so, dude, the story is beautiful in so many ways. And I just love that you guys grew up in the same town. You moved to New York to, have these different careers, and how much you guys needed each other without even knowing you needed each other was just the chef kiss on this. So guys, keep fucking shit up out there. Keep loving each other. Enjoy being dads and shit. Keep writing beautiful music. And my last question is, when it's all said and done, what do you want Bob Moses to be remembered by?
Good question. I think just like, the ultimate goal as a musician, I think, is like to have as much music out there as possible that did as much good for as many people as possible. You know, like, the music that I grew up listening to, like, music changed my life. Music gave me like gave me hope. It helped me understand the world. It became like my purpose was, my purpose in life was all around music. I was drawn to it. It seemed sort of like God to me, if there was a God, it seemed like this thing that was like, everything is right. I don't know what's wrong going on in the world, but everything is right when music is involved, And so like, it came like this sort of solace to me. And if we can write some music that provides that, or some part of that to some other people, that would be like, when it's all said and done, like, that's really what matters, because like, that's, the playing big shows and all the sort of egoic, somewhat superficial things, shows aren't superficial because it's this beautiful connection with other people, but I just mean like, success and all that stuff is great, but it's, when it comes down to it, I think at the end of the day, what I'll remember if I'm like on my deathbed is like, I'll be like, oh, I had some song. Like, I'll remember the person who comes up and said like, this song saved my life or changed my life, or, Yeah. And I think that's our goal. Hopefully we can be remembered by our music,
Yeah. Fuck yeah. What about you, Jimmy? What do you think, buddy?
I think I read this thing yesterday by the writer Kurt Vonnegut, which really struck a chord with me, and something that I always felt, but I wish more people heard, which is he says this thing. He's like, everyone, if there's anyone watching this that like is aspiring to be a musician, aspiring to do anything, just write a poem, paint a picture, try a piece of music, not to make something for adulation, but just to experience becoming.
Wow.
To know more about yourself and to sort of grow your soul, because at the end of the day, that is what the most valuable part of it is in finding out more about yourself, And I think that we've done that in our music. And so if that can connect with people and inspire people to do what we've done, I think that's the legacy that I would love to leave behind.
God fucking damn it. My boys, I don't even know you. I just want to hug you. It's fucking awesome. It's fucking badass, guys. Thanks so much for being on the show. Oh shit, my producer wanted me to ask you. Greatest Canadian rock band of all time. What is the greatest Canadian rock band of all time?
Oh boy. I think the book would say Tragically Hip.
Yeah. Well, what do we
say?
What would you say?
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to say Tragically Hip because they're the most Canadian rock band of all time.
What does that's, I don't know why I thought that was funny, but why are they the most Canadian rock band of all time?
Because they can't get arrested outside Canada, but they're fucking huge in Canada. And like they are, I just feel like they're like the quintessential, like if you're like they're the quintessential Canadian rock band, you know, like they're huge in Canada, they're loved in Canada, they're a very Canadian thing. Their Canadianness, whatever makes them special and so huge in Canada is not understood outside of Canada.
I hear you.
Evidenced by the fact that they're not really that big anywhere else except Canada.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of makes them like very uniquely Canadian and sort of special inside Canada. And I think that like you could say there's other bands that are like, you know, bigger and huge worldwide, and maybe they're the greatest Canadian export, blah, 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 because they're the biggest. But I think that like the Canadian part of it is the...
Yeah. If I hear Tragically Hip, I can like picture myself in the car in Vancouver driving home after school. And like, I can just, there's a Canadian thing ingrained where like, if I hear Neil Young or Rush, I'll be like, oh, last time I heard that I was in LA.
Yeah.
And you know, but Tragically Hip is like so Canadian,
Well,
you know?
Shout out to Tragically Hip. That's awesome. Boys, thank you so much for being on the show. Keep kicking ass. And I'll be rooting for you, buds. So keep rocking.
Thank you, man.
Have a good one, guys. Later.
You too. Bye.
Bye.